Hey, all you spicy midlife women out there. Jules and Michelle here from Seattle, Washington, the Emerald City, where the Seahawks reign, bringing you all kinds of stories and no BS conversations. And yeah, that's what we're doing. What are you doing, Michelle?
Oh, we're doing it. We're coming in hot doing it too.
Yes,
That's
girl.
right, Jules. So we're here to help all you midlife women redefine your relationships, ditch those toxic cycles, and reclaim your power one episode at a time. So let's do that now.
All right. Well, we're on our 40th episode here.
Yeah,
Isn't that awesome?
it is awesome.
I
I
know,
love it.
and we continue to talk about things that are really they resonate with us, but they also seem to be resonating with our audience quite a bit, some of the feedback that we've been getting, so we're kind of excited about
I
that.
think what's interesting about a lot of the stuff we talk about too is how overarching it is and how intertwined it is and how many really like offshoots there are with regard to even some of the same things, but there's so many facets to it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Well, there's been a couple of women that I know that I think I'd mentioned this to you, Michelle, who had just started listening, and they're both going through very interesting times in their lives, one through a really bad breakup, and it's been super helpful for her to kind of, listen to some of these things to get herself grounded again.
mm,
And the other one, just trying to figure out the single life, as a woman who's in her early 50s and what that
yeah.
looks like. And, so anyway, just a lot of really good stuff. I'm excited about it. Anyway, what are we talking about today?
With that, some more good stuff. And what we're going to dive in today is all about midlife and kind of the evolving identity that shifts for us. Hey, real quick before we dive in. If you're a woman in midlife who's tired of the cliches and ready to live out loud, we're glad you're here.
Because you are definitely in the right place. We're not here to age gracefully, we're here to age boldly. So if you love real talk, big laughs, and the occasional spicy truth bomb, make sure to follow us on TikTok at Spicy Midlife Women for even more unfiltered midlife magic.
I think it's important to remember that midlife is really a time for what? Recalibration. It's like a reset and you don't even realize it.
Hmm.
That's the thing is like you don't even realize that you're either thinking about all the things that would require you to do that or you're doing some of them without even realizing, you
You
know?
realize that, oh my gosh, it's like, I don't really need to be worrying about that or doing that anymore. I don't really
Mhm.
give a shit anymore. I'm not doing it. And that's kind of the evolution. I think
Yeah.
that things happen. I think we were talking about this before getting started too. And one of the things we had been chatting about was the changes that we are seeing in ourselves. Really, it's not even anything very specific, but it's just more along the lines of that recalibration or evolution of your thought process, and it just shows up. And so, for all of you ladies out there listening, it's like we want you to understand this is not like a black and white thing. It's a very
Oh, no.
gray thing, and it's something that everybody does a little bit differently and approaches things a little bit differently, and at different stages, frankly, of your midlife experience because you may be looking at it much later at the midlife or much, much earlier. Everybody's different, so
And again, it's not a number. I'll just bring you back to that. Midlife is just
Mhm,
about the mindset and it's not about the number.
mhm,
Everybody has, to Julie's point, different things going on based on all the
mhm,
circumstances of their journey. But the identity thing, some of what I think we evolve through are all very we have a lot of them in common, right? As midlife women, whether it be career changes or shifts that happen with parenting, I mean the empty nest stuff that starts happening, how we're aging, our aging bodies,
mhm.
so many things that would cause shifts and changes in what our priorities are,
Right.
right?
Well, I mean, it's priorities, but it's also, looking at, these changes is like we said before, not being black and white, but
Yeah.
being more transitional and in gray areas. There are some things that I think are a little black and white, like the empty nesting thing like we're talking about,
Yeah.
unless you've got them coming and going, like we kinda do. In the Northwest, a lot of it has to do with the housing costs and, just the cost to live and everything. So you see a lot of people with kids that are in their early mid-20s that are still kind of in the
Yeah.
revolving door a little bit.
Yeah.
I don't know if
Mhm.
that's everywhere, but I've definitely noticed that here, kind of helping out a little bit more maybe than it's happened in the past. But yeah, that's the one area that I think I can recall going into this thought process of being, quote, "an empty nester" and going, "Holy shit, what does that mean?" I mean, I was actually kind of frightened by it because to me,
Yeah.
it felt like it was this chapter that I was being forced into. You know, like when you're an empty nester and now all of a sudden you're like doing other things like
I
playing
know.
pickleball or something, I don't know.
I know. There's so many things that we hear about it.
Mhm.
And I think until you actually are experiencing it, it's a whole other thing because it's going to be different for everybody in regarding identity and how it evolves through midlife. I think a lot of it happens naturally.
Mhm. Do you think there's tension that kind of correlates with that transition that we experience? Like
Sure.
well, is it a struggle internally or is it a struggle externally
I think
where
both.
yeah, I think so too.
I think both.
Because you're not only making adjustments and changes like we've talked about with your standards and expectations, stuff like that in other episodes, where people are looking at you going, "Okay, that's different than I'm accustomed to from her," to, just being okay with things and going with the flow with things, you know? I'm
Mhm.
finding myself being a lot more a lot less, I should say, like, overthinking on some of these things. Like, I'm such an overthinker, and there's some topics that I will definitely overthink on, and it's just
Mhm.
naturally that I do that, for whatever reason, whatever baggage I'm carrying with me. But, some things I just don't. I thought I would, or I just kind of don't give it things a lot of energy that I maybe would have 10 years ago, you know? So
I think when I think of 10 years ago, I think there were more circumstances to consider when
mhm.
it came to making some of those decisions.
Yeah,
I know we're not talking about specific decisions, but I'm just thinking 10 years ago, some of the decisions I was making, a lot more things to consider
yeah,
at that time than there are now.
yeah. Well, you have
That's
just basically yourself to consider,
well, that's
right?
yeah,
And your guy.
yeah,
You have your guy to consider too
yeah,
with the decisions you're making, but it's like really, I mean, I'm making decisions for myself and as much as I don't want to, I do think about how my kids are going to be affected. Now, do I act upon that? Not all the time because god
yeah.
damn it, it's not their life anymore. They've sucked the life out of me for so long. Now it's my turn, you know? So just joking. They really don't suck the life out of me.
No, I don't think they do.
No.
I don't think they do.
It just
There's
depends.
times.
Just
There's
depends.
times.
Yeah. Sorry
I
guys.
think we all have that.
Yeah, maybe I suck the life out of them, I don't know. I'll never be that mom, I'll never be that mom, but anyway, do you feel like there's a part of yourself that you've outgrown in these last several years, like in your midlife time frame that you haven't really acknowledged or admitted to yet?
That I haven't admitted to yet?
Or acknowledged? Same thing,
Uh,
kinda.
yeah, kind of.
There's things you probably have less tolerance for that you've outgrown.
Yeah, there are. I'm not as quiet and silent as I used to be.
Mm-mm. Is there a part of you that has kind of outgrown something that or grown matured in it maybe or become less tolerant of that you haven't really acknowledged yet that you're just starting to figure out?
I would say that I have become more vocal
Mhm.
than I used to be. And I really just in the last year have started to realize that, if you want to call it realization or admitting to it, whatever it might be. But I think my siblings in the family I grew up in have probably seen some of that as well as my kids
Mhm.
and in with my own family that I'm not just quietly going about things like I used to. I used to do that a lot.
Yeah.
And I've had to learn how to navigate a lot of different personalities because we're all getting older,
Yeah.
right? My kids are getting older. They have significant others. My siblings we're all getting older and going through these evolutions, if you will, in midlife, whether you're a man or a woman. So I think I have become more vocal and yeah, I think it's been a good thing though. I think
Yeah.
it's been a really good thing for me and for them.
Yeah, I would say so. I would say kind of the same thing. I was always very I wouldn't say rigid, but a little bit more conservative about things that had to do with like sensuality or sexuality. I
Mhm.
just didn't talk about them. Didn't really, just didn't really like had a vibrator, but just like hit it kind of a thing. But now I'm
Hit
just like
it or hid it?
hid it, hit
Hit
it,
it. I thought you were
hit it.
hitting it, girl.
Well, no, no. Well, probably, yeah, that too. But I'm just saying it's like it was something
Yeah.
that it was like I didn't even bring around my husband or anything like that. Now I'm just like, I don't even care. It's like I have a completely different look
Yeah.
or feel on those things, and it's a kind of liberating.
Feel on those things. I'm telling you, the words that you're using to
Michelle's a
describe
horn dog. Fuck, feel on those things. I don't
anyways,
know.
yeah.
She needs to take a trip to the toy store.
I got you, though. I understand. That's actually a really good one
Yeah,
because I could say the same.
yeah. Oh, yeah.
I could say the same.
Nobody does it better. That's her favorite line.
But it's true because yeah, that's definitely been an evolution, and we've talked about that in many well, more than a few episodes.
Sure. But an evolution that has been very, I think, pretty healthy for me anyway. I mean, I think it scares the hell out of my kids. They're
Mhm.
like, "Oh my god, I am not listening to that," and I'm just like, "Then don't listen to it, I don't care." But it's, one of those things where maybe I didn't talk about it enough with them either. So, I just kind of or it was not it's not stuff that wasn't discussed, you didn't talk
Right.
about it, we're a Catholic girl that, just like, the whole 9 yards. And so, as an older woman now, or as a more mature woman, I just feel like it's important to be who you are in that regard and even talk about it, talk about what you need. We've talked about that before, talk about what you want. And it's not about being like overly sexual. I'm not really meaning that. It's more just being more direct,
Mm,
you know, and
I
not
do.
hiding things. So,
Well, and I think at this point also in life, as we are here in midlife, it becomes there's more of a sense of urgency for those things. And I'm not talking about the vibrators and all that shit. I just mean in general, those things for you to be able to feel joy
mhm.
and really be authentic to who you are and to act on those things. Because I tell you, it's really kind of strange. I don't know why I've more lately than before been thinking about the fact that I have less years ahead of me
Stop. I know, right?
than I have behind me. But it's kind
But
of it's
nothing's
a trip.
promised, Michelle. I mean, it's
Yeah,
like
I know.
you can be
I
35
know.
years old and dead,
I
and
know.
you haven't lived half your life.
I know.
So I understand what you're
Well,
saying. I
and
think
that's why the sense of urgency, that's what I'm saying.
you're
It's
like,
like
I have to
super
hurry up and have more orgasms
no,
so
you just have to
so I can
hurry
at
up
least
and
get them all in, right? Is that what you're saying?
act on what brings you joy and
Yeah.
do those things and be authentic and figure that shit out
Mhm.
because you don't have a lot of time. To Julie's point, tomorrow is never promised.
No.
So, I mean, jump on
And I
that.
feel like there's definitely some additional living that we have wanted to do because I wouldn't say I led a repressed life, but it's like I led a very, I would say conservative. It was more just like it wasn't for me. I mean, meaning
But
I
we
was
didn't know.
well, I didn't know what I didn't know, right? And there's a lot of women out there that are like that, but I'm saying I lived to take care of other people. And I'm not trying to be a martyr. I'm not saying it for that reason. It's like I tried to be selfish and I was probably very selfish at different times, but the reality was it's like that was I didn't put me as a priority. I just really didn't. Like it was if I got a massage, I was thinking I was putting myself as a priority, but
And
really I
it's
wasn't.
hard, I know, and it's hard to do that. I mean, let's be real. Let's be
Mhm.
real, and during those times, it's hard not to feel that way. So I can understand why women feel that way when
Mhm.
they are getting time for themselves. This is why we're spicy midlife women, though,
Mhm.
because we're here to tell you to do it
Mhm.
and not feel guilty.
Right.
We did it and felt guilty. So here we are to, help you do a better job than we did
Mhm.
and know that it's okay
I
to
still think
step
that
away and do those things.
there are feelings that are thrown at women for
Mhm.
doing exactly what we're talking about and having them be categorized as
Yep.
selfish. And so when you get into this whole midlife thing, you may still have your children around. You might, you're 40 years old or whatever. You've got your kids around. You've got a husband. You're in the middle of the shit. I'm telling you, it's like those years are such a blur to me. And it's like you have to kind of go back and say, what would I have done differently? I don't know that I would have done anything differently because I wouldn't have known any better to do it.
Mhm.
Now that knowing what I know, I would have probably restructured a lot of things to look differently So I could have remembered more, could have enjoyed more. And I'm not regretting all those things. It's just is what it is at this point where I just don't want other people to have that same type of experience.
Yeah. So let's talk about because this is, our evolving identities in general, overarching big picture. With that in evolution, part of that definitely is being self-expressive, I
Mhm.
would say. So why do you think it's so important to do that, especially when it comes to relationships? And I'm talking all of them, romantic partnerships, there's the family relationships, friendships, all those things, workplace relationships, like to be true to self expression.
Well, because otherwise it's like you're wearing a mask. You know, if
Hmm.
you're around these people, you put on kind of the like you were saying, the show.
Yeah,
You know, you're doing what you need to do to get through the day. And I'm not saying that every day is like that. I mean, there's some days obviously,
we all do that.
we've all done it. We all
Definitely
do
do
it.
that.
You know,
Hmm.
you do obligatory things because you're supposed to and you don't necessarily always enjoy them or, you take on more sometimes as a woman in with a family in particular or someone who's got a really really big job. Maybe they don't have a family, but their job is their family or, whatever they've got going on. And you put on your game face. I say you have your game face on most all the time when you're out in the public eye or if you're in
Hmm.
your work because you take that off, you can tell when you come home, you're exhausted. You're
Hmm.
just wanting to put your feet up and you're wanting to chill. And then the people at home don't get the same energy that the people at work got, because you've exhausted everything that you've had. And it's like now and your people at home are supposed to be the ones that understand. But there's a point in time where they're going to be like, well, where do I fit in? I want a piece of that too. I want to spend that kind of time with you too. But you're just out. Your bucket's empty,
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
that's what we need to try to figure out how to avoid or help
Well, and
people figure
that's
out how to avoid.
yeah, and that's where the self-expression, being self-expressive and being able to communicate
Mhm,
with in your relationships, I think is super important because if you don't, that's where resentment starts to
mhm,
happen. Feel
100%.
Yeah, you start feeling emotionally drained because if you just shut down
Mhm,
and keep it all within and you don't express some of the things, the needs, wants, and desires, or some of the stuff that you need to get back, that's where that will start to build up and then eventually explodes.
yeah. I think the resentment is probably one of the biggest relationship
For sure.
killers you'll see out there,
For sure.
whether it be romantic relationships in particular, I think,
Mhm.
because people will harbor things, especially women. We keep score a lot of the time. It's like it's not a
Do we?
yeah. I mean,
I'm joking.
I'm much better at that than I used to be. I was
Yeah, me
very much a
too.
keeper scorer person, which is not healthy at all to do. But if you're feeling like you're the one giving all the time and you're never
Mhm.
receiving or there's no reciprocation, no reciprocity whatsoever, it's like, of course you're going to get resentful. You're going to feel
Yeah.
like, why the hell should I continue to
Mhm.
do this? Why should I fuck this guy, whatever, what your husband or boyfriend or whatever, when he's like, not giving me the time of day. It's like, this is
Yeah.
why these things happen, you know?
Well, I just wanted to bring up for maybe some of you that are newer to our audience, we do have an episode. I don't know the number. I apologize because it's just coming to me right now that I should talk about this. But we did do an episode on love languages.
Mhm. It's the
One of the
very
very
beginning, yeah.
first, yeah, it's like one of our very first episodes. So you should, if you're not familiar with that, or if you are and you want a refresher, you should go check that out,
Mhm,
and listen to that because a lot of that even has to do with what
mhm.
we're talking about and being able to express within your relationships how to keep your cup full, if you will.
Yeah, understanding what makes your
Mhm.
partner's cup full. It's not
Yeah.
necessarily always the same thing as yours. That was when we were a blonde, a brunette, and a Mike before we had, rebranded to the current podcast,
Mhm.
and I wanna say it was, like, episode, like, 3 or 4. It was very
Yeah.
early on,
It was very early on.
but I think we're probably gonna be revisiting that because
Mhm.
we went pretty high level on it, and there is so much there. There's so much good information there that can help you kind of understand and get to know a little bit more about the person that you're supposed to be in love with and care about, or the
Mhm.
person you want to get to know better, So, yeah.
Do you have, a time where you did express a new, I don't know, truth or something that strengthened you or challenged you within a relationship? Can you think of a time where you shared something like that, and what was the result?
Well, that's a great question. I would say there has been so this is going back a little ways, but I can recall this. This is not a good thing really, but it's something that I think has been was very helpful to me. What
Like, to your evolution,
Yeah, to
right?
my
Like, how they
evolution.
reacted?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was I had a very difficult time expressing what I wanted or what I was bothered by or what I was feeling resentful about. And
Mhm.
so my way of expressing those things would come across as passive aggressive. And I never had really
Yeah.
understood that. I had never, nobody had ever said that to me until this one person said that to me. And I'm kind of like, huh? And I'd never really acknowledged that before. Right. And so it really made me take a look at the way that I was communicating those things because
Yeah.
instead of like really saying what was on my mind in a kind way or in a way that was getting the right attention, I was snarky. I'd be snarky about something or I'd make a joke, but it wasn't really a joke. There's always some
I
truth
do
behind
that.
every joke.
I am, like, I'm taking it, I'm admitting it.
Mhm.
I still do that.
You do not that much.
I do. I do that,
Really?
mostly in the workplace, but
Yeah.
yes, I do but same. I had somebody point that out to
Mhm.
me, and they were just made that comment.
Yeah.
They actually just came out and said, "Well, that was really passive aggressive."
But see, it's like when you hear that, it's a very negative connotation,
Totally
right?
caught me off guard.
But
Yeah.
but in a way and this had been and it was said to me in love. It wasn't said to me in a way to be mean to me or anything like that. It was more like I was being hurtful by not being direct and by being snarky. And so I had to step back from that and go, "Oh, okay. I guess I'm doing that."
I think it's so interesting because in with this midlife journey that we have with perimenopause,
Mhm.
menopause, all the things and all the hormones that are going off the charts and crazy and causing all kinds of chaos within
Mhm.
us. I think to your point, some of those things you really have to be cognizant about because I know I have been even just recently. I'm like, okay, is this just me overreacting or do
Mhm.
I just need to chill out and, step back and reassess?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I didn't realize there's been some interesting conversations lately with some different people. It's like I am actually much more emotional than I have given myself credit for. Or
Mhm.
given my acknowledged, I should say, because I try not to be so I try to keep things objective and try to speak with, without emotion or whatever just because I wanna be, I don't want to be that emotional girl kind of a thing,
Yeah.
where 'cause I really think that people don't necessarily take you as seriously when you speak from emotion. If you have, the ability to articulate your thoughts in a way where you're not using the words "feel" all the time, you
Mhm.
probably will get your point across a little bit better or maybe in a way where people are not taking it in an offensive way.
Yeah, I was gonna say, but is it as understood? Because 'Cause I'm totally emotional communicator.
Yeah.
I'm a total emotional communicator.
Man, when she gets going, I'm telling you, I've only seen her mad maybe once or twice, and I'm like, "You do not wanna be in the room." She's and the bombs are starting and the neck is going and the whole bit, but honestly, it's like when you know her, you would just be like, "That cannot be coming from her." So I understand what you're saying. But yeah, it's something that so and going back to the original question, it's like I think that was an evolution for me
Mhm.
because it was something I got called out on, and
Yeah.
it was definitely a negative way that I was communicating, and, I mean, don't get me wrong, it's not like I don't slip once in a while probably and do it, but I definitely try to catch myself, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
So
I mean, that's the cool thing about all of this is that who we are now and as we evolve, it's not like this set in stone
right.
fixed things, fixed mold that we have to fit into. And I think the people in our lives that really love us can handle what
Mhm.
what those changes evolve to,
I think
because we're
the thing
still who
too
we are.
yeah, the thing that's kind of important to point out there too is as we've kind of gotten into a different space in our lives, I think we're much more accepting of these faults that we have.
Mhm.
And you're not, like, beating yourself up over it in the same
Yeah,
way that you did when you were younger.
this is very true.
Yeah. 'Cause it's like, you know
This
what,
is very true.
everybody's got 'em.
Yep.
Everybody's got these issues, whatever they are, and it's like, if you don't acknowledge that within yourself, it's like you're not doing yourself any favors, but not everybody's really ready to do that, you know?
Yeah.
I think that
I
comes with
mean, this
experience.
is like really high level, just like all the things that we've been talking about. And, there's more than a few episodes that we've done already. with regard to the midlife woman and the identity shifts and who benefits, when you stay the same, all of those things. But, so just a reminder here, give yourself permission to experiment
Yeah.
with hobbies, with your style, with so many things
Mhm.
that you have open to you at this time in life. It's like Julie traveling solo, just different things that you have thought about, you've desired within your mind and in your heart. Act on some of those things.
Yeah. Even if
Act on
everybody
some of
thinks
those
you're
things.
crazy or you're going through a midlife crisis, do it.
Yeah, just do it.
Just do it. Yeah. And then I wanna talk a little bit about, what's coming. We've mentioned this in a couple of our
Yeah.
episodes so far, and we've mentioned it here and there about our community, but, it's pretty exciting, you guys. We will be rolling this out at the beginning of March, and there will be a lot more in the next episode that will speak to it, and the link where people can go and look at the information and sign up to a part of our collective, and we're really excited about what this is gonna entail. There's so many women out there that are just waiting for it
Mhm.
to come out. I cannot wait.
Yeah, it's gonna be a lot of fun.
Yeah,
It's a membership community. It's gonna be called the Spicy Collective. So, yeah, next episode, we'll talk a little bit more what all that will entail
yeah.
because y'all are gonna wanna be a part of it.
That's right. This is like our big
Yeah.
tribe that's, like, throughout the
Mhm.
US and all other parts of the world, so we're pretty jazzed about it.
Tribing and vibing.
Tribing and vibing. There she goes, finding something else to rhyme. Anyway, well, with that in mind, Michelle, I think we are on the socials, right? YouTube.
Oh, yes, all the socials. We're over at YouTube. If you check us out there, please, hit that button and subscribe. Instagram, please follow. TikTok, the same, and we're on Facebook as well, so go check us out. We have a lot of fun over there,
Mhm.
and we know you will too.
Yeah. And take care, everybody. Thanks so much for listening, and we will be back with you next week with a little more information about the collective and another good topic.
Until then, though, stay
Stay
spicy.
spicy. Bye.